Can't believe I'm doing this. We're gonna shoot some $5,000 tables, but before we can do that, we need to make the tops. So let's do that real quick, then we'll shoot them. Tabletops are all put together. As you see, we actually are on the bases, but we'll get to the bases here in a minute. The mask for the logo is done from the CNC. We're going to use some blue tape and CA glue to adhere to each one. That way we can pull it off cleanly without messing with the stain. And about time for what you guys actually clicked here for, to watch us shoot up these tables. And later I'll talk about why we're actually doing this and why it fits what we're doing, but you want to see me shoot some stuff. So we're down at my range. We're all set up. We got the table down range, all masked off for the logo. We have some steel shot because it's going in a restaurant, so obviously don't want to use lead. Just due to the current political climate, the only shells I was able to get were 3.5-inch shells in steel shot, which is a super magnum. So I actually had to buy this gun just to be able to shoot these shells because it's all I could get. And this is gonna hurt me a lot more than it hurts that table. So that was the first 3 shots, just going down the left-hand side. We'll see how the patterning and spread is looking, and you know, how many this is really gonna take to get a nice coverage on the table. Ah, yeah, that's perfect, man. I like it. Most of them are in, because I don't want it to be super rough. Right now, we do have a little bit of splintering. Looks like the mask did a pretty good job catching everything, so now we're gonna pry it off. See how well the idea worked. So my takeaway is the donut is too small to really notice. It's here, but it's really subtle. The original plan was actually to mask around it and then just shoot the logo, but then I thought we'd do the negative so that way there's more noticeable of the shot. I wasn't thinking about how this wasn't gonna pop though. So moving forward on the next 3 tables, we're gonna concentrate all fire around the logo and then just spread out a little bit instead of trying to do even coverage. And also we're gonna have to scuff sand this for some of the splinters, and then we'll restain it. And because my dye stain is water-based, I'm hoping we might get a little bit of bleed from the steel shot reacting with the tannins in the oak to darken all these up, and that'll give even more contrast for our clean negative here. So as you can see, the logo mask is gone. It just started coming apart. And also after looking at that first one, we noticed it really wasn't standing out very well. And the more we thought about it, it made more sense to just ditch the logo. Client wasn't like super committed on it. These don't need to be super branded because the area is already very branded. The idea was just some really cool statement tables still that like sell the place. And I think having all the shot shells scattered, still going to do that, especially with those little brass medallions we're going to put in it to be the fake pins for the breadboards. So now just a lot more shoulder abuse. So why'd we shoot the tables and what's the deal with the seat? Well, these are going to a brewery a buddy of mine started called Cartridge Brewing out of the old Peter's Cartridge Factory. I've made a lot of stuff for them, so if you've been watching for a while, you're very familiar with them. But anyway, they're an old cartridge factory. Everyone knows that that's local, knows they made the 22 shells that Annie Oakley liked to shoot, and that they used to make shotgun shells because they got a big shot tower there. It's what's on all the postcards. So keeping with that vibe, we littered these with shot shells, steel, not lead, because it is a restaurant and brewery. And then their logo was going to be in every table, but since that really wasn't quite working right, it's an Easter egg now in just one of the tables. So if you ever go there, try to find which table, snap a picture, and make sure you tag me and tag them. And the other thing we're doing to tie into the history is normally we cheated those breadboards. Normally they'd be mortise and tenon and then pinned in place. Since we're cheating them, they don't actually have to be pinned. But to keep with the vibe, what we're going to do is, you saw me CNC those little pockets on the breadboards. I'm going to make some brass medallions with the head stamp that Peters used to put on their 12 gauge ammunition to drop in there as if they were pinned, also as an homage. So we're going to jump to the CNC and mill those out on the Penguin. Done shooting the tables, got them back in the shop. I went over them with the Mirka and some 120 grit Abranet. I was surprised it actually sanded through the steel pretty well too, and just knocked off all the roughness on these. They feel pretty good. Rubbed my hand over every square inch. Didn't get any splinters, so I think we're pretty good. However, you know, these are going to have thousands of people sitting at them over years, so really want to make sure there's not going to be any issues with splinters. So what I'm going to do is mix up some Total Boat penetrating epoxy and brush that on nice and heavy, and so that way any loose fibers is going to help firm them up, keep everything locked in place, and do that. Then we'll start putting finish on top once it cures. Penetrating epoxy dried, sanded that down, and I've already started finishing. I sprayed on a few coats of General Finishes conversion varnish and gloss. I always build in gloss. I've talked about this lots of times because gloss is the purest form. They add flatteners to make anything but gloss. If you do satin or whatever all the way through, your finish won't be as clear as if you just top coat with the sheen you won't. So now I'm going to mix up my satin and then spray that this on. I normally use Total Boat Halcyon for most of my finishing, but it is very water-based, and what I don't want to happen is the water to react with the steel shot and then the iron to react with the tannins and get all the iron staining in the oak that oak is notorious for. So I'm going this also because this is a commercial project. I like to use in 2-part conversion varnishes, just a little bit more durable. And like epoxy or anything that's 2-part, you always want to mix thoroughly. So I like using a little paddle. Stir this around for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we can spray it on. Tops are all done now. Of course, we need to make the bases, which, I mean, you saw them, you know they're already made. But anyway, steel bases, a lot of 3-inch tube, some 2x3 tube, 1.5-inch tube. We're gonna get all that cut down and weld them up right now. Really pushing the deadline, so just trying to wrap up a few things. I've got these boards. These are totally non-structural at all. Just kind of tie the piece together, not literally, but aesthetically. And that's why we welded these tabs in here. Looks so nice. Another finishing touch, I know me, and inevitably I'd go somewhere like here in flip-flops or sandals and stick my freaking toe in here and cut it open. And I know there are other people equally intelligent. So I made some little plugs and branded them with me and the brewery. So let's see if they fit. What's that stupid thing people say? It's like I measured it. That's a nice little finishing touch. I like it. And because I'm in a hurry, you know, didn't even put on my right shirt today. Show you how I made these. We glossed over it, but basically I set my bevel gauge to the same angle that I cut that steel. Use this to set my table saw. Ran a board through here and cut one side. Set the fence to the right width. Ran it through again. Made a big strip. I'll show you that over here. Here's my big strip with the angle. Set a stop block. Cut a bunch. Branded them and then cut more because I didn't make extras to brand the rest. Now, one of the tricks is, you know, the block had square corners, whereas the inside's rounded. So I just used the spindle sounder and then just rounded these all off a little bit really quick. So they're not perfect, but they'll go in well enough. It's a nice friction fit, so no glue required. It's a feature, not an accuracy. All the little touches are finally done. We've got them loaded on the trailer, so we're about to head up to Cartridge and deliver these things. The only thing you haven't seen is me drill screws through the little tabs that we made into the table and attach it, but I mean, you can use your imagination. Basically, it looks like this. So anyway, I hope you learned something or inspired or at least entertained. And until next time, make time to make something.
Let me adjust the contrast so we can see that. Oh, you're getting a little pink there, bud.
First table. First one. 3 more to go.